You know, when you think about really complex AI features, I'm talking on-the-fly image generation, annotation, the whole works, you probably picture a massive team of specialists, right? Well, what if I told you that you could build that entire pipeline directly into a mobile app using tools that are, well, surprisingly accessible? In this explainer, we're going to break down exactly how that's even possible.
This quote it nails it, doesn't it? It perfectly captures this huge shift we're all feeling. I mean, the simple, functional apps from a few years ago, they just don't cut it anymore. Your users now expect, heck, they demand a little bit of magic in their software.
And wow, the contrast is it's stark. Think about it. In the pre-AI era, development was this slow, kind of tedious process of just connecting screens to APIs. But today, phew, the game has totally changed. It's all about moving fast in a market that's fiercely competitive, where that magic we were talking about is the one thing that makes you stand out. But here's the really good news. The barrier to creating that magic has just plummeted. All right, so here's our game plan for this explainer. We've talked about this new expectation. Next up, we're going to look at a real-world app called Finish. Then, we'll dive into the 3 core principles behind its magic. After that, we'll walk through the actual AI pipeline, and we'll wrap up with the big idea here, that this kind of AI is officially here for everyone. Okay, let's make this real with a solid example. We're going to dive into the world of language learning apps. And you know this space. It's traditionally been full of these static, super repetitive exercises that just use the same boring old stock photos over and over again. And that's the central challenge, right? If you're trying to learn a language, seeing the same picture of, I don't know, a cat in a tree for the 12th time, it's just not helpful. So the real question is, how do we generate infinite, totally relevant, and visually engaging practice material that actually helps you build that conversational muscle memory? Well, the answer, in this case, comes in the form of an app called Finish. Now, this is a Flutter app, and its whole purpose is to help people get ready for the official Finnish proficiency exam. And that test is all about spontaneous speaking. You know, the exact kind of skill that those old static flashcards are terrible at teaching. And this is where the magic happens. Here's what the app does all automatically. In just a few seconds, it generates a totally unique speaking scenario, then it creates a photorealistic image to go with it, and then it maps relevant vocabulary right onto the picture. We're talking a complete dynamic exercise built from scratch every single time you tap the button. And here's the real kicker. You'd think this would need some crazy complex system, right? Nope. It's built on a surprisingly simple tech stack. There's no custom backend, no complicated infrastructure, nothing like that. It's literally just a Flutter app that talks to Firebase, which in turn gives it access to Google's Gemini models. That's the whole setup. Okay, so how does this all work so reliably? It sounds great, but what makes it tick? Before we get into the nuts and bolts, we really need to understand the 3 core principles. This is the secret sauce, the strategic thinking that makes this whole AI pipeline actually work. First up is a principle called structured serendipity. And I gotta say, this is a fantastic concept. It's all about finding that perfect sweet spot. On one hand, you don't want the AI just going completely rogue and making up random stuff. But on the other, you don't want to be stuck writing every single exercise by hand. This is the balance that gives you infinite variety while making sure everything stays perfectly on curriculum. So here's how that works in practice. It's actually pretty simple. The app has this little JSON file with a bunch of high-level topics. So say you pick a topic like urban spaces and city life. That phrase gets sent to the AI as a seed. From there, the AI has the creative freedom to dream up a specific scene, maybe a snowy tram stop or a modern library, but it's always anchored to that original educational topic. Okay, principle number 2 is structured output. And listen, this one is absolutely crucial. Instead of just, asking the AI for some text and crossing your fingers, you give it a strict JSON schema. You can think of this schema, it's basically just a blueprint for your data, as a binding contract. The AI has to respond with data in the exact format you specified, no exceptions.
And the benefit here is just huge. You know the drill, right? We're all tired of begging the AI in our prompts. Please reply in JSON. Please don't add any extra commentary. Well, those days are over. This contract guarantees the output is always clean, always predictable, and ready for your app to use without breaking. It just eliminates a ton of potential errors.
And that brings us to principle number 3, safety by design. Look, when you're generating images on the fly with no human moderator in the loop, safety can't be an afterthought. It has to be baked in from the start. And the critical move here is to build your safety measures right into the prompts, way upstream, before a single pixel of an image is ever generated. And there's a great metaphor for this. You're basically using the text-generating AI as a pre-flight safety check for the image-generating AI. The prompt explicitly orders the text model to create a description that is wholesome, inclusive, and basically guaranteed to pass all the safety filters. This just massively reduces the risk of anything inappropriate ever being created.
All right, so with those three principles locked in, let's finally look at the actual pipeline. We're going to walk through this step by step and see exactly how we go from a simple topic idea to a fully finished annotated image. The whole thing really breaks down into three simple stages. Step 1, we generate the data. That's text to JSON. Step 2, we generate the image, text to pixels. And finally, step 3, we annotate that image, turning the image and text into the final product.
Okay, so step 1 all begins with the prompt. But this isn't just a simple question. No, we assign the AI a very specific job title, Expert Curriculum Designer. This is so powerful. It frames the entire task, it gives the model a purpose and a professional identity. It's a fantastic way to guide its output.
And that job title comes with a very detailed job description, a checklist of constraints. The prompt forces the AI to stick to the topic, use a specific photographic style, like a medium shot, and even prepare for the next step by identifying keywords for annotation. And of course, it has to strictly follow all those safety rules. It's a super disciplined approach. Okay, step 2, turning that perfectly crafted text into pixels. Now here's a really cool and important detail. The AI doesn't just send you back a URL you have to go and download. No, it sends the raw image bytes, the actual data of the image itself, directly to the app. For a mobile app, this is incredibly efficient. It means the UI can just render it instantly.
And then we get to the final step, the annotation. And believe me, this is not just about slapping some text on a picture. There is a really sophisticated logic going on here. The prompt gives the AI specific instructions on how to place every single label. Nouns get an arrow pointing right to the object. Verbs point to where the action is happening. Adjectives are used to describe the whole scene. It even has design rules like don't cross the lines to make sure the final image is super clear and easy to understand. The level of detail is just incredible.
So, after seeing that whole pipeline in action, what's the big picture here? What's the main thing we should take away from all this? Let's bring it all together.
And this right here is the most crucial point of all. The real magic we've been talking about, it doesn't just come from the raw power of the AI model. It comes from the human part of the equation. Designing a really good data structure, that contract we mentioned, and engineering a thoughtful, disciplined prompt that steers the AI exactly where you need it to go. That's where the real power is.
I mean, think about it. This entire pipeline would have been a massive, expensive research project just a couple of years ago. And now, it can be built by a single developer right inside a mobile app. The barrier to entry has never been lower. Which really leaves us with one final exciting question. Now that these tools are this accessible, what kind of magic are you going to build?